I
Yeah.
agree with you. I think we're sort of conditioned. Like we were talking off air, and I was saying to you, like, we're not really taught how to grieve. Like, society doesn't encourage it. Society says, okay, you got your week off of work,
Yeah. Or three
go
days.
back to work, or whatever it is, right? And then, like, you're supposed to just go back to quote normal, but it's, for a while, like, like I said, when my dad died, for a while, it would be like, my time would get marked like, was dad here or was he not?
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Was that
Yeah.
pre-dad, after dad? It was like
Super
these
common.
weird, like, yeah. So
Yeah.
I think, but I don't think we're encouraged to talk about it at all. And then especially the person who's passed, it's like we're all a little nervous about, like, well, do we bring this person up? Like, do we talk
Right.
about them? Is it
Yeah.
time? Is it not time? Like, I think people want to support during that time, but they also don't know how. And then the person who needs the support, I know, like, at times I would say, I don't even know what I need. Like, I don't
Right.
know. I
So
have no idea.
that's such a perfect opportunity for just a little like discourse between yourself
Yeah.
and the person. So, and there are people subscribe to different schools of thoughts on this, but some will say if you don't know if you should say the name of the person, say the name. Just say it. Just say it because people need to hear it. Now, I don't think that that's like a one size fits all kind of thing. I think that there are some people that can be a very triggering incident. If they're haven't worked their way through enough stuff yet, or whatever the case may be for them, even if it's just a really shitty day. And it's
Yeah.
like, I can't hear that name today because everything else is going to fall apart if I hear that.
Yep.
So, there's obviously personal limitations. I I contribute to this text-based aftercare program called Help Text, and something that they do is you put in like the name of the person that you lost, how they died, when they died, blah blah blah, and they will send you scheduled text messages about the person, or just to say, hey, I know that you're coming up on a really tough day. Maybe instead of, this, try going for a walk today. Go out for a 15-minute walk, like get outside.
Wow.
Go to the
Yeah.
ocean. Every time the waves hit the shore, take a deep breath in, and when they retreat, exhale. Like go and do these things. So it kind of gives you like little things, and it's um, not. I mean, I don't think it's like super intrusive, although some may. Just an opportunity for people to be like, I'm being thought about. That feels really good.
Yeah.
So one recommendation that they had, and I loved this, and I never thought about it, is when you go to Starbucks, if you just lost somebody, whoever it is, tell the barista who's taking your order that person's name so
Oh,
that
I love that.
all of the
I love
coffee
that.
order, it's going to
Yeah.
be the name of the person that you're thinking about. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, which was like
Oh
a super
my
cute.
God.
Um,
Yeah.
and to your point, like no, definitely not taught to grieve, and most certainly not taught to grieve effectively. So
Mm.
I was thinking about this earlier, because I work with people all the time, like water seeks its own level, right? So
Yep.
I'm super neurotic. I'm goal oriented. I'm task oriented. I'm putting a timeline on something and I'm going to get it done before that. I'm never late. I'm always early. Like I
Mhm.
see my neuroses and I don't, I try not to think about my own too much because it takes me out of the game. But I see them in like other people and people I work
Mhm.
with, and families I'm working with or clients in private practice. And I see that same behavior in the way that people apply that to the grief process. And
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like, huh, it doesn't, nope, doesn't do it. It doesn't
Mhm.
work. And that's something that I see a lot. I see a lot of people who have this similar mindset to how I approach like everything. Um,
Mhm.
and that they'll say like, I need to make it until the day of the funeral. I need to get just through the wake. That's all I have to do. I just have to get through the day that he's cremated. And then, not everything is going to be fine. Nobody, I think, is like deluded about it, but people are just kind of like, I just have to get to that point, and then I can
Mhm.
just after that I can like breathe, I can whatever. And it's like that actually might be the hardest day to breathe though, on the tail end.
Right.
Like the day after the funeral, everybody's gone, and now it's what do I do?
Right.
Um, so yeah,
Right.
we're not taught to grieve like adequately, in a way that really actually works for us. And time is such a huge factor on that too, right? Like we put the limitations and the restrictions on ourselves as far as time goes. So your
True.
job probably tells you that you have like this is totally BS, but like 3 bereavement days or something like that. I never
Mm.
in my life will agree with that policy.
No, no,
I
never.
yeah, I'll die on that hill. That is
Yeah.
such a ridiculous thing. But
I'll die with you. I agree with you. Yeah.
so it's like, but your job will tell you you have 3 days to figure this out, get me a letter, and also get over it because you need to be back to work in 3 days. But
Right.
we also set those restrictions and those parameters on ourselves too, right? Like
Hmm.
we'll sit there and say, okay, I'm going to give it a year. I'll be a mess for a year, whatever it
Hmm.
takes. But once 1 year hits, I'm back to work. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Like we set these parameters for ourselves, and they're really unrealistic.
Yeah.
And really improbable that it's going to work like that. Like you actually
Hmm.
could feel decent in less time than that. That's entirely
Right.
possible. It's more possible that you will not feel decent that quickly. And
Right.
also to statement that you had made when you had your Billy Joel moment. Um,
Mm.
like the way that it kind of comes in waves like that too. Like
Mhm.
we have this kind of expectation that because we think that grief is such a linear process that like the waves of emotion like that come and absolutely annihilate you, that like those will start to fade at some point. That's going to go away. It's so not the case. There is this really amazing theoretical framework that I love. It's actually my favorite that I've read. I think it's the most human of the thanatological frameworks that I've had to work with, and it's called the dual process model by Strobe and Schutt. I think it's from 1999, I'm pretty sure. I've written like 8 papers on it. I should know. But basically, what they say is you will, over the course of your grief process, however long that takes, you will oscillate between focusing on the death itself and focusing on wellness on the tail end of the death. And you will go from one place to the other as many times as you have to go to each of them until you don't have to go to them anymore.
Right.
And this kind of exposes like the pitfalls to some of the more popular theories that um, most people are familiar with, like Elizabeth Kubler-Ross's five
Right.
stages of grief. Um,
Yeah.
there is validity to those stages, and I do see that. However, a lot of people think that that's very, or find it to be very misleading, or have sort of a misleading experience with that, because they think that it's like, okay, I'm at stage 1 right now. Okay, I'm at stage 2 right now. And it's like, not all of us will hit all 5 stages. Rarely will any of us hit them in order. Some of us hit less, and some of us have to revisit them over time. It's not over when it's over. It's over when, I don't know, when it wants to be over.
Whatever.
It
Right.
doesn't
When
say
you've
it.
sort of, you remember we were talking about the new normal bullshit. It's because
Yes. Yes.
it is new normal bullshit, but
Yeah.
there's this thing where you're integrating that into your life, which I know might sound weird, but there's a part of you that's like, all right, I've lost this person, thing, job, career, whatever, and now I have to integrate it into the new path that I'm on.
Yeah.
But it's not a, I don't, it's not a new normal because you're not quite normal. You're not,
Yeah. It's
you know,
new. I don't really know that many people would find it to be normal. So that part of the process, that's Robert Niemeyer's meaning reconstruction model, also a very good one and one I talk about very, very often because I do see a lot of validity to it. He's a really great writer too.
mm,
And basically, the whole point of that is taking the memories that you have of the person, acknowledging that they are gone, but also acknowledging that your life didn't end when theirs did, or that your life didn't end when the opportunity did, or the work opportunity, or your pet, or whatever the case is. Whatever it is that you're grieving, like you still survived. You can survive, and you will. And it will not look the way that it did before. No one should ever tell you that it will. But you
no,
can take the memories that you have with these people. You can also make new ones with those memories and go and do the things. So, like it seems like more and more people are actually saying this phrase, and I like it. They're talking about like just take the trip, just take the trip. And I say it all the time at work because I work with people who, like a gentleman, he was like a couple of months ago, I think. His wife died in a car accident. It's extremely traumatic, very just, there was nothing wrong with her until the day that she was dead. And he came in to pick up her cremated remains from me, and he had like a total breakdown. And of course, like everybody apologized to me profusely for it. which is always, I always breaks my heart a little bit when people feel like they need to apologize for that, because that is the society that we've been raised in. That is
Right,
the world that we exist in, is that you do need to
right.
apologize. Certainly, if you're a man, you need to apologize
Oh,
whenever you can.
absolutely. Don't show us any of those feelings.
Yeah,
No, no,
that's another thing.
which is
But
crazy. Yeah.
he did. He had like a total moment, and he apologized, and he was like, we were supposed to go to Italy together. We had talked our whole marriage about going to Italy. We've been saving the money for it. We have been gearing ourselves up for it. We just got passports. Like we just were doing all of the things. And now she's dead. I don't understand why. I'm really angry, and I don't want to go on the trip. And I was like near tears myself at that point, because I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like this guy is just so broken right now. And I just said to him, I was like, you don't have to listen to me, because in the larger scheme of things, I'm nobody. Take the trip. Just take the trip. I said, you just don't not take the trip, because I hate using
Right.
double negatives, so let's edit that out. But um
That's okay.
always take the trip. Always do it. You
Yeah.
don't know when you're going to have the opportunity to do it, or if you're going to. And it's not going to be the same. It might be awful at times, but it also might be really great at times. And it can give you an opportunity to make a memory with the memory of the person, which is, I can only imagine, nearly impossible to even conceptualize in a time like that. I mean, I still have my husband. I have not lost my husband, so I don't know what it feels like to be in that position, and I never project myself into anybody else's experience. But, in my mind, I just think of all the people that I help, that I work with, and I'm just like, they should have taken the trip.
Yeah.
Should have done it.
What about, I wonder if, I'm curious to know your thoughts on this. I wonder if there's guilt, like I'm here to take the trip. This person isn't going to
Absolutely.
experience this trip. Like, so how do they work with that guilt? Because the person isn't here. And
Yeah,
like you can say these like things like, oh, she would want you to take the trip. But it's like,
yeah,
would she? Like, would
yeah,
she? I don't know if So, how do you deal with this guilt of still being here and still
yeah,
trying to live your life? And that person, like, especially like the example you used, she died suddenly
right.
and unexplainably. So it's like, do I still enjoy life? But and like you and I sitting out here should go, yeah, you should. But then
Right. Yeah,
that person's like, I don't know how I can do that. But that has to, like,
yeah,
that has
it's
to
a
happen,
thing. So
right?
survivor's guilt's definite thing.
Mm,
You can see this in a number of cases too, like still going with like the car accident thing. Like if,
mm,
say, like a couple was driving and one of the people died and the other one didn't, there can
mm,
be that feeling of, why was I the one who survived? And I think that there's like this really huge moment that happens there, that like we're not talking about, and it's hard to talk about, but it's, we start to kind of devalue our existence in a way, when we put ourselves in the position where we're experiencing the survivor's guilt. Now, I'm not saying it's not a normal thing to feel. 100%, in a lot of circumstances it is. But what I see when I speak with somebody who is saying, I should have been the one who died, she shouldn't have been the one who died, she had so much left to give, what I'm hearing is, she should be alive because I have nothing to give. And
right.
that's like this whole like new dimension of shit that people can be feeling,
Yeah.
and kind of place on themselves. And I definitely, I've fallen into that pocket in my own way. In like, my Nana died in 2006, I believe it was 2006. Um, I mean, she was pure. She was the purest woman you can imagine. She was solid gold, absolutely. I've never known a better person, and I don't know that I will. I don't think I will. And when she died, I remember I was like out on the curb outside of my aunt's house, and I was just like sobbing hysterically because my nana died, and people were driving by, and I was so fucking angry. Because number one, anger is my easy emotion. So that's the
Mm,
first place I'm going to go pretty much always.
mhm,
But I was so angry. And the reason I was angry was because I was like, there are so many people who don't care about being here right now. And the world is such a better place with her in it, that why is she gone and these other people aren't? And we start to
mhm.
make these approximations in that grief. And I see that a lot in in survivor's guilt, where it's
Yeah.
just kind of like we start to we start to weigh the scales of justice a little bit, as to
Right.
why the loss was unjustified and how we think that it could have been made right. So this is like the Kubler-Ross model. This would be like your bargaining
Right.
stage. That's when that's happening, where you're settling up the pros and cons of like, no, no, this is why this person should be here and this is why this one shouldn't. So
Right.
working through survivor's guilt, I mean, that's a long road. That's a long
Yeah.
road. Um, Very long road. And
But I
honestly,
think,
like for
go.
me as a practitioner and as a professional, like it doesn't benefit anybody to not refer out in certain cases.
Mhm.
I've definitely seen some survivor's guilt cases come through my funeral home where I'm like, I don't even think I would necessarily have the proper qualifications to be able to serve this person appropriately. Because that's really, there's a lot of reframing that has to happen there. I think when it comes to survivor's guilt about like learning to value yourself enough to say, I don't have to like that this happened. I can miss my person. I can be angry, enraged, whatever. But I also have a right to still be here too. And you
Yeah.
know, that's such a it's such a
For
hard place to
information on my
be.
services, visit theadjustmentphase.com. Let me know what you think in the comments and follow along for more.